Okay, everybody. So we have a whole new series coming out on our Gumroad platform. This is the first course in that series, and it's quite simple. It's a little different and a little bit unusual relative to content that I create, but I thought I would share it in public anyway. 11 things I learned building an online marketing education business without gurus, gimmicks, or selling my soul. So, number one, and all of these, by the way, I hope apply to many of you watching this, and I hope they give you a little bit of, kind of hope and inspiration that kind of powers you through if you're feeling a little stuck or frustrated right now. All right, education marketing is a cheat code to everything I care about in my own business. And when in doubt, teach something you know. And for me, this is really a transformative exercise when I'm feeling stuck or frustrated or kind of up against a wall. I just record something. I'll just take something that I learned and I will teach it just generically out there in the world. Empower others through service, information, and opportunity. And again, this is really an ethos that I try to incorporate into everything that I do, especially when, again, I find myself feeling a little, frustrated or stuck in my own kind of creative process. Good leaders don't just share the view, they reach down and lift you up so you can see it too. It's a reciprocal benefit, creating tiny courses that hopefully empower others, but also kind of get me through my own creative blocks as well. Beginner's mind. This is so important. I've said this a zillion times on in our course community, and even on some of these that I post on YouTube. There's so much of this stuff I'm just sucky at. Like, I'm not a good designer. I'm colorblind. Like, I'm not a coder. I couldn't code anything to save my life. I mean, maybe I give myself a little bit too little credit in those departments, but generally I'm very mediocre to not to to bad at those things. So I try to approach all this stuff with the understanding that as bad as I am, I'm persistent, I learn new things easily, and I'm happy to document everything that I do, even the stuff that I'm sucky at now, right? So create content and then courses that document your journey from beginner to expert, or even in the things that I'm not expert in still, from zero to done, right? So taking a very specific set of paths and actually starting at zero and publishing, a landing page or publishing a newsletter or doing X, Y, or Z. Simplicity sells, and it often sells faster, better, and for more than complicated, convoluted, and complex, right? This applies to design. Again, as I said, I'm a dum dum when it comes to designing things. A one page site done properly at scale can be as lucrative as one of these high end boutique studio web designers selling expensive sites. This also applies to content, courses, books, your brand, and community too, right? So, more in your writing and in your courses, in your content, is usually less. The more stuff I add, the more stuff that I incorporate, the more quickly I lose my audience. Finite focus, embrace constraints, use numbers whenever possible. For someone like myself, who's highly caffeinated, maybe a little bit attentionally challenged, using numbers for me as a heuristic is very effective at keeping me, on the task at hand. 10 rules, 30 days, 6 lessons, 19 tools, 100 truths. It doesn't matter, right? Whatever the numbers are, they're just arbitrary. But keeping myself in this, kind of building constraints around my art, my work, my words is a really useful thing for me to kind of get things done. Avoid the urge to data dump all of your niche knowledge, your industry expertise in one book, in one course, in one piece of community or one piece of content or community. In just whatever it is, put it in the next book, in the next course, in the next cohort, in the next coaching program, etc. This is so important to me. This right here. Community questions are for you too, right? It's so easy and so important to me to answer questions from my own audience, often and with authenticity and enthusiasm. Be transparent and avoid the urge to sneak in self serving suggestions, even when you want and need the sales. This is so critical. I can see through just about any, kind of guru or, kind of expert or whatever that's selling something that has a list of like 10 things. And the last thing on the list is usually something like, hire a mentor or, find a coach, when that person is positioning themselves in the world as a mentor or coach, right? It's disingenuous. It feels foolish and self-serving. And you have to approach all of this, even if that works, as a violation of the trust and the transparency, but the trust that your audience is putting in you. I'm not absolving myself of this, by the way. I've done that in some hopefully more skillful ways. But when I see this urge in myself now, I try to be mindful of it, catch it, and then kind of walk it back. The procrastinator's paradox: when you commit to more than one, it's easier to get the first one done. I don't know where I came up with that rhyme, but it works. And what it means is, write, like, think small but series. Think small but scale. You don't have to include everything that you know in that next book or in that next course, and simply commit to doing more than one, and you'll find that first one is easier to get done. Answer strangers too. Treat questions as opportunities. This is so important to me, insofar as I look at questions as user generated content, right? So if someone asks me a question on YouTube, someone asked me something today or pointed out something on one of my videos that they didn't like or that they thought was incomplete. And rather than, and again, I'm not claiming to be perfect, there are many unanswered questions, certainly on my YouTube channel, but never in my course communities. But I treat all of these questions, even from strangers, as an opportunity to, it's like a gift. They're giving you a gift. It's another tiny course or book and a new opportunity to bond with the individual who is asking the question. And of course, your audience writ large. And this is even for folks who are, again, by strangers, by definition, they aren't clients, they aren't part of our community, right? But I look at their questions as a gift. It's a way in which somebody is telling me a problem that they have in the world, in the niche market vertical industry or area of expertise in which I excel. And I'm going to thank them in my head for that question, sometimes in writing as well, and then answer it. And you can include, even if you paraphrase those questions in your books, your courses, as examples of the kind of content that people want from you. Find your people. Be willing to be vulnerable is so important. It's so easy to hide and kind of, not create content or not write or not teach because you're afraid of reviews or ratings or, people's negativity. And it's certainly going to visit you if you're a creator, but put yourself out there anyway. Be courageous, be vulnerable, and be willing to get your face muddy if you want those people to find you too. If you simply never, put your work and your words out in the world, you're never going to, you may find your people, but they ain't going to find you. And it's really important to be willing to be vulnerable and to be willing to be courageous in the service of doing the work that you feel you're here to do. Choose your hard. This is really, really uh, important to me, and it's something that I stumbled across this a while ago, on some podcast or what have you. But choosing your hard is just simply a function of saying everything is hard, right? I mean, being really overweight is hard, as is being on the sort of diet if you're really overweight. I'm not, thankfully, but if I was, having to be put on a diet which restricted what I could eat would suck, right? But it would suck less than, being unable to go for a run with my sisters, or play tennis with my friends, or play basketball, with my fraternity brothers from 20 years ago. I mean, these things are always choices, right? Choose your hard. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes days are too long and the rewards are tiny. And that is hard, but it's actually harder in contrast to settle for a life of less, a smaller story, and complacency rather than courage. For me, this is true. I mean, sometimes my days suck. They're lonely. The rewards are tiny. There are days where no one buys anything, or, the views on a video like this will be 9, and it feels like, do I even want to do this? It's hard to bump up against that sort of, rejection in the world. But it would be harder for me to sell real estate, or to be an insurance broker, or to have any other sort of job that is a great job for many, but for me, it would be the wrong life, the wrong career, the wrong path. And, it's easy to get back on track and to be grateful for the gift of what I'm able to do, even when the rewards aren't, the days feel hard. Create for yourself, not for others. Really, really, again, critical, in terms of its importance to me. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Oscar Wilde. I love that quote. We all see it, on Pinterest and Twitter and Instagram, but it's really true. Create stuff that inspires you first. If I wouldn't read it, recommend it, or find value in the product, or in the book, or in the course, don't write it, don't create it, and I should not be wasting my time and my talent on people who will see through the fact that I'm not genuinely in love with what I'm doing. And so is true for you. So, focus on things that would empower and inspire and entertain you, things that would make you laugh, things that would be fun for you. And if it's not something that you can do with that sort of ethos and approach, don't do it. All right, this is so important now as well. You'll overestimate, and this is, again, to me, right? But it's also true for you. You'll overestimate how much tools can help, right? And you'll underestimate how ready you are right now, exactly as you are, with the exact stuff that you have in the arsenal of available software, services, tools, tech, etc. No software or service is going to do a better job of being you than you. If you're an author, a maker, a creator, an artist, you're the person watching this right now with that sort of attitude towards life. There's no AI chatbot or some large language model software or tech stack that's going to do a better job of being you than you right now in this moment. When in doubt, don't waste time on bright and shiny objects that may appear cool, and they often do. And I've often spent much time learning and investing my energy and my enthusiasm into these things, but they invariably are doomed to disappoint when it comes to getting me where I want to go. My unique set of skills is simply doing stuff like this, right? Writing, creating, and no matter how much faster some, chat bot sort of tool or tech stack can help me get more content created faster, or with, whatever the promise on the box is, it's never the solution that's right for me when I'm trying to create content for you. All right. really, this is critically important as well. I know I'm saying that now on every one of these, but it's true. Know when to move on. The sunk cost fallacy is real. Some things are not going to work. Many of the things that I've done don't work. Some stuff that I've invested time and endless energy and real income in building won't work. Know when to stop pushing on a locked door. Success for any of us, and this is true for you, it's true for me, is not trapped behind a single wall, and oftentimes simply stepping back and finding new windows that offer new ways of opening new worlds are where the real freedom and fun lies. And this is really true in, you know, for those of us who've like really kind of stubbornly stuck to like a single kind of like idea or outcome, that if it doesn't arrive, we kind of just keep grinding and grinding and get deeper and deeper into this abyss of not getting where we want to be. Just sometimes there's no shame in stepping back and saying, I don't love this anymore. It's not working so much for me anymore. It's not working at all anymore. And maybe it never has. And I'm going to try something new. And as a little sort of ending little piece here, this is generally the piece of these sorts of presentations where I'd promote something, our community, courses, whatever. But in the spirit of just keeping it real, I won't. Teach what you know, do what you love, wake up the world with your work. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for watching or listening. And if you're part of our community, I appreciate you for being with us on this journey. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. And I'll talk to you soon.